Hey, Ian Gordon here, Brock Science Librarian, to help you with Earth Sciences 2P18 library assignment and some orientation to tools and resources specific to Earth Sciences you may have not seen before. Hopefully this will help you to get started, to learn a few things and develop strategies to be a better searcher so that you can complete this assignment in a timely manner and do a good job that you can transfer these skills to other materials and assignments as well. Here's the guide we're going to use today. I'm going to review the assignment, explore databases, since there's lots of databases that just aren't article databases we'll look at. We'll kind of discuss what does scholarly peer-reviewed articles mean, whether you know that or not. That's important to this exercise. Look at the specific articles databases. Some you've probably searched, some you haven't, but some you'll need to search for this particular assignment. We'll talk about citation management, meaning how do you do your citations, collect the data, collect your PDFs, when you get to write, where do all these things fit, and challenge you to use a citation management system. I'll demonstrate in Zotero for you. Just may blow you away. Maps and data. We probably won't be looking at this too much. I'll make a few comments about it. It's hard to do this virtually, and it's hard to do this off campus. We do this when we're on campus, but you should develop these skills as well. I'm going to demonstrate GeoRef, Web of Science, Google Scholar, Microsoft Academic, Omni, and just give you some comments that how these work, how they don't work, and which ones you should use for this assignment. Then at the final lift, give you a page of where to get help in case you don't know where to start, you're having something's not working technically from home, or you just can't find something that you thought you should have. We can help you in many particular ways, not only for this assignment and for this course, but for other courses as well. Review the assignment. Let's look at that now. So our homepage is here, and it'll change as we move through because the hours change and there's things that are added and taken away. This is the Brock Library homepage. On it, you'll find the research guides that are listed there. That's the bottom right. And the research guides take you to guides for divided by faculty and by department. So the Earth Sciences guide is right here, and I'll get you to click on that as well. Brings up a page that I constantly add to, take away. If you find something that's really neat, let me know. I'd be glad to add it here. But it's an academic textbook of resources and tools that you can use for this assignment, for this course of study, for Earth Sciences, and for other resources as well. Some are proprietary databases, meaning Brock Library pays a whack of money, not only for the content, but for the access to it. But a lot of things are increasingly becoming open or free, so you may use these after you leave Brock as well. Most academic libraries have tools like this. Earth Sciences 2P18 is a tab I've put here specific for this particular course. And if you click on it, it brings up a number of things that are here available for you as well. At the top, you see the slides I'm showing you now, in case you want to go back and look at them again. And Google Slides and SlideShare, whatever works best for you. This video has been archived here on YouTube, so you can get to that as well. And the assignment form, though it's also in Sakai, it's available here as well in Google Docs format. It's your, you have to download it, put it in Word, because you'll be using it as a template to add to as you complete this assignment. Either doing it, an hour a day, doing it one day, saying I just got to get this done, or just picking it up and putting it down, but make sure it's handed in at the appropriate time in the appropriate way as well. On this guide page or tab has a number of things like the Geography Library Research Guide, which has physical geography related things that just of interest, commentary in the Brock article databases, Earth Sciences reference tools like encyclopedias, dictionaries, and handbooks. They're kind of neat as well. The Geology, and it's not a misprint, Geology Ontario. It's one word. It's a database the OGS, or Ontario government, puts together that I'm going to demonstrate for you. Then there's a guide here, how to reference geospatial data maps, atlases, and yada, yada, yada. That's really tricky because in Earth Sciences, there's not an APA or ASA or Turabian or MLS, a style that tells you how to write numbers and format documents and do your references, most importantly. I guess for this assignment, your TA or your lab assistant or Frank will tell you what's most appropriate. I think the goal is to be consistent and do it most appropriately, but even in those anal APA-related style formats, there's still some gray areas. There's still some ways people like it and don't like it. So as long as you're consistent, I think you would be okay with that. Something you need to work with somebody else on. And OGS Earth, it's a database that may be important for you as well. So here's the assignment. It's on the front page. It says the assignment will serve to familiarize yourself with Earth Science's open databases and the proprietary databases we have. Each student must select one Canadian plate tectonic feature for this assignment. I'll show you the list from them. They've all been vetted. To complete this task, you must go online. You can work with me. You can do whatever you need to fill in the categories. It's a learning exercise to get you into the library and all the digital resources that are there. The final report for this assignment will be 1 page. Remember that, 1 page. In previous years, people used 2 or more pages, but 1 page. Single-sided, meaning one side of 1 page. So you have to really be concise in the words, the terms, and the phrases that you use on the information sheet. And on this sheet, there'll be a location map, so you have to find a map. You have to reference it and comment on it. Why did you pick that? Because you'll find many maps that you could use for this feature. You have to define and highlight where it is, what it is. So you have to answer the question, what is this term all about? From a geological, from a plate tectonic, and be concise, like 25 words or less. Why is this important? The significance to it. And then through your trip or at the very end, you have to produce a list of 5 citations. 5 of the most popular from 1990 onwards or post-1989. APA works for me if that works for you. 2 of these citations must be peer-reviewed scholarly articles, and we'll talk about that in a minute. Now, at the bottom of the page, and I'll show you the page what it looks like, a list of 5 to 9, you choose how many appropriate keywords that you would choose to describe to feature this article. So keywords produced by you as an author that are most appropriate for this particular feature. Here's all the features that have been vetted that are here. Some are large, meaning there's lots of literature. Some there's not so much literature. Some are in different parts of Canada. And Canada is pretty good at finding articles and features in government, survey reports, open files, maps, documents, digital files, pictures, graphics of all these sorts of things. So they'll all work. So you may want to try 1 or 2 that look familiar. Find out where it is, how relevant it is, test, try, push, pull, and come back and maybe after your first 20 minutes you go, oh, this would work. Though they all work, you may want to use this as opposed to something else as well. These are the preferred terms that we've used. Your professor has given them to us. So they may be described by using other words because they have a geological and geographical significance. In the literature, there may be, it's like teenager or adolescent or high school student, different words that describe the same concept. And there's different words or phrases that describe these particular features. That's part of the exercise as well. Again, here's the things that you need to fill in the page, the feature name, the location map of your choosing. So you have to actually cut and paste or screen up the map and put it in. I'll show you where it goes, a definition, a comment why this map is significant. Why'd you choose it? Because there's probably hundreds you could choose from. Why is this feature significant to your sciences and plate tectonics? Your 5 citations from 1990, 2 being peer-reviewed scholarly articles, and then your list of keywords, all on 1 single page. I can't overemphasize that. This is what the page looks like. You'll download it. It's probably on Sakai. You can move the categories, move the map. So the map has to fit in that location map. And then the source should be right underneath it in the format and the citation style that you choose to use. You can't be too small, you can't be too large, so you'll probably have to not cram things in, but make a balance. So you really have to be concise in this exercise. 1 page. Don't put 2. Don't go over these boundaries. Don't extend the margins to 0. Make sure that works. And then your list of citations that are listed. There are 5 of them. And you can choose the format you want. And I guess the citations could be 10 point as opposed to 11 or 12 point or font. It's up to you. They have to be appropriate and be consistent and use the same style that you've used through the location of the map citation source and for the cited references as well. Then your keywords separated by commas or semicolons, whatever you want. At least 5. No more than 9 that you think are appropriate. That's kind of the art to do that, but every researcher, your professor, your TAs have to do this exercise because they're not demanded by journals and reports. It's just a way of summarizing and indexing the value, increasing the value finding these articles in open databases as well. Hopefully that makes sense to you. So here's our homepage, a number of things that you can use. As I said, it changes, but if you click on collections, it brings up this particular tab, Maps, Data, and GIS. So they're a separate library from the Gibson library, not that we're on campus. And there's people that help there. They have a map and geodata section that you can look at. It gives you all their tools and resources, their GIS materials, but it also gives you the contact information, because sometimes they can answer questions that aren't easily answered by myself or somebody else, but it's a great source to know as well. And as you move through Earth Sciences, you do a capstone project, you do another course, do a master's, or you do postdoc research. They are invaluable people because they're the map, GIS, geodata people. Plus, they can find things that nobody else can find. Let's go back to our homepage. Another place is the contact tab that's on the top there. And if you click on the contact, there's on the left-hand side the chat service, which works when during the term, through the day, through the night, and even on weekends. They're great because you go, how do I cite this? Or where can I find this? Or this isn't working. There's always someone, whether it's from Brock or somewhere else, can really help you with chat. It's just a text-based service that works very well as well. There's numbers, but there's no one on campus this term, but libhelp@brocku.ca. When I'm not around, or you just need general help within 24 hours notices, you can email someone there for help as well. So here's the guide. I've reviewed the assignment. You get a sense of what you need to download, need to look at. Participating in this video should help you as well. Explore databases. Well, there's that Earth Sciences 2P18 tab that I showed you where it is. I'm going to use the term Kappa-Casing uplift. That's plate tectonics Ontario terminology. As this is an example for me to use as well. Again, here's that page that we're looking at, we saw before. But if you go further down on the page, there's a number of resources that helps you to be a better writer. Organize your terms. And these are key textbooks. There aren't too many plate tectonic textbooks in the world. And these are most of them. They're mostly all in digital format, or resources that may be able to help you as well to give you context of Ontario, Canada, plate tectonics. Or you just want to time out and check out something that's related to this particular course beyond what professor has given you and what's in Sakai. This is great tools that you can have as well. So check these out as well. Book and ebook databases. Wouldn't it be nice if we had one database that listed all the books, all the articles, all the open files, the geological survey materials, the open web materials, and put them in and sorted them, and it gave you a list that you could just create citations and maps from. Well, we're quickly moving there, but we aren't there first. The guide here is limited by and separated by tabs of formats. So books and ebooks are great. And in Earth Sciences, a geological report, an open file report, sometimes a thesis or a dissertation are categorized as books or ebooks, digital books as well. So there's gray areas to know where and when you should. So it's nice to look in each one of these areas as you build context for this particular assignment. There's a number of tools that you can use, like Omni is our home database on our front page. Hopefully you know how to use that. Google Books. WorldCat answers the question, what books are available on my topic that have ever been produced that I know or not know about, so that I can affirm whether there is something out there that I should consult. You won't need it for this assignment, but it's there for that as well. And since the geological societies and government agencies like the OGS, Ontario Geological Survey, the CGS, and the USGS, they have a publication site. And the United States Geological Survey is the default world or international geological society. They concentrate on American-related terms and territories and landforms, but they have so many things, and everything in the USGS website is free, which is quite amazing. Here's a Google search I did. On the top of that book page, if you type in the formatting all in text, I put it in quotation marks to get the phrase Kappa-Casing uplifting and file type :PDF. If you can put in other terms other than Kappa-Casing uplift, it searches for PDFs, which are usually the default scholarly databasing format. It's amazing what you get, and you can browse through those as well. I found a map that looked interesting, and then I cited it. Again, I'm not a good citation, but yet this isn't a scholarly peer-reviewed article. Well, you have to figure that out yourself, but you can list this as one of your citations. I just searched Google and put in the word plate and asterisk, shift 8, get plate or plates and kappa spacing uplift as a phrase, and I found a number of things. You'll know when you think you've got enough, you kind of know where your boundaries are, you can fill in your categories when you start seeing the same sorts of articles, books, chapters of books, reports, government surveys, in different types of searches. If you're doing a major project, that's a good thing to know because it reassures you that I think I'm finding what I need. So you track that and you keep it and you remember where you've gone so you can update that search as you move through your research. But for this exercise, you have to capture things that you think are relevant and important to the significance of this, finding a map, and finding those 5 resources, including 2 peer-reviewed scholarly articles. So you can do a Google search in this way. Not only can you do a Google search, but you can click on maps or images here, and sometimes they'll take you to scholarly resources you could get any other way. So lots of maps that are here as well. How you find books in our library? Well, Omni does that as well. Here's the advanced search screen. And I looked at any field that contains kappa spacing. And then under resource type, it says books or ebooks. So I'm looking just at books and ebooks, not at articles, books or ebooks. And I said, let's add in and see where it has OR typed in OR, capital OR. You have to type that in or it doesn't know how to interpret results. So I found kappa spacing and uplift and kappa spacing and terrain and kappa. I kind of developed, these are the words that were working best. So I have pace, plate, crust, or words starting with the word crust, terrain or uplift, and I look for books, and then I only found 2. So Omni works well, but in this case, it may have identified things that were key, but there aren't too many books, reports, files, folders, open files that are in the Omni database that relate to me, and that's okay too. So you kind of scratch your head and say, did I do it right or didn't do it right? I think I did this right, so I just need to move on. But I wanted to show you Omni. Google Books is a great tool that you've used. It provides limited content to limited resources. So parts of books, parts of reports, and Google Books. So I clicked on limited, preview, and full feature for just books, and I put in the exact phrase, and you can mix and match because the results you get is only good as the terms you put in. So I put in the phrase kappa spacing uplift. I didn't use any other features, and I found a number of things. I found this book, and it gave me, probably 75% of this print publication, and a really neat map that I could use if I wanted to cut and paste or scroll or capture this particular image. It could be the map that I'd want to use. Again, you always have to cite it. Always cite something. Using a citation management system or downloading it. When you're doing it, that way you know what you've got and where you've gotten it to cite it. Okay. So again, Google Book search well. Here's another Google book. I did a search, so I put the word kappa spacing and I put in quotes, parentheses, structure, or uplift, or terrain in Google. And I found this book with this paragraph, which was just amazing. Probably the best concise description of my feature that I could use, not to copy. You don't want to caught plagiarizing, but taking these words and in 3 or 4 sentences, 25 words or less, describing what is a feature that I'm looking for as well. And I cited it while I was there as well, so I'd have a copy of it on hand. Let's go back to other sources. Also, I've looked at books and ebooks, a number of resources. The federal government puts out a number of things. So if it's a Canadian feature, map, data, report, it's here as well, and Canada includes Ontario, so it kind of duplicates what's in Ontario as well. But GeoScan is the default Canadian Geological Survey database, which indexes all their publications by all their researchers, which is amazing. And sometimes it captures things that aren't found anywhere else. And there's other agencies, and there's other titles that are there as well. So search GeoScan, search Scholar's GeoPortal, and Google Earth is a digital file mapping set that's of interest to you. You can play around it as well. I did some searching. I found this Government of Canada, 1984 kappa spacing uplift description. Wow. Almost feel like cutting and pasting and put it in my assignment. Don't do that, but that's what it does. So there are Canadian resources that you can use, but since we're in Ontario or Government of Ontario resources, and we're quite blessed about the materials, not only the wealth, the data, the ongoing content. It's really neat if you could find for your feature the default best description or report that someone has done, usually in the last 30 or 40 years, because it hasn't changed much, that you could cite and look at it. It'd be like, this is the best thing that I've used, and then you could find supplementary information. The Geology Ontario, it's one word again, is the OGS database for maps, aggregated data, all sorts of things. I'll show you that in a minute. OGS Earth is a mapping GIS digital platform. And the Geology of Ontario, which is halfway down, volumes 1 or part 1 and volume 2 or part 2 are the default commentary of everything about the geology of Ontario. It's just quite amazing. It was published in 1991. It's still pretty well current. And there's 2 parts to it, and it gives you links to those 2 things. You should browse through those because they're very fascinating. Let's go to the Geology Ontario database. So here's what it looks like. Actually, to search for something, I put in the word Kapuskasing. Again, I started wide, and I want to narrow and filter my results down. You can search in a number of ways. I put the word Hurston, a township or area. It looks for the OGS area, region, not the township. Just to see what I got, I looked at database records as it was documents, and I found out 749 publications have Kapuskasing in it. But when I did my search, I found only 4 that had the reports, and it ranks them and sorts them. And so you click at them and they come up live. So think of ways of your feature and other words that describe it to look at from a geological, geographical. And if you're a plate tectonics person, what words would you put in to find more information about your feature? So here's a number of things I found in the Geology Ontario database. An open file report. It has a number. It's about 50 pages long. It has all sorts of maps and diagrams. It was very good. A summary of fieldwork. I searched through it digitally and found out that in 2018 there was work that was done, and this graph of this report on the right was just amazing. It gave me everything I almost needed to know, including a map if I wanted to choose to use it. On the bottom left is a map, which was kind of a different kind of map because, as you can understand, there's different types of lithographic, bedrock, seismic, gravity anomaly, cartographic maps that you can use. Your choice is to find the map that best describes your area. Not too big, not too small, and it's readable and can be understood. You have to understand and describe it as part of this assignment. So there you go, a number of things, and then you can cite it in the style that you want. Again, it's tricky. I tried to use AP. Well, that's MLA. I don't know MLA, but it's a style, NLS style that you can use as well. In the Geology of Ontario, there's the quintessential book called the Geology of Ontario. It's a 2-volume set, as I've said. And I found searching through digitally, doing Control F and looking for Kapuskasing uplift through the whole digital sets. But we have print copies on reserve in the library, and there's print copies in the map library. But since they aren't open right now, they may be hard to use. The equivalent is right here as well. So I found one. The title of the map, should you format that in the style that you use to cite it? Again, it's tricky. Just be consistent. I cited the source of this particular report, which is in the Geology of Ontario, and I used the APA, hopefully to try to do that as well. So don't rule out looking at Geology of Ontario if your feature transects provincial boundaries. Theses and dissertations are neat databases that you should look up as well. These aren't really books. They're kind of a gray literature. They aren't reports. People's master's and PhD dissertations that are available and have been granted permission to be put in a number of databases. There's more than one place. ProQuest Dissertations and Thesis Global is one database where most Ontario Canadian theses go and dissertations. But there's other ones from other parts of the world. And we put all our theses or dissertations in our Brock Thesis depository. Search for that. You may find one that may be interesting. And WorldCat again answers the question, what other theses and dissertations are there out there from anywhere around the world that may be applicable to me as well? A number of things you can look at. Here's a thesis I found. Mark Queen from Queens, ironically, 1993 produced this thesis. It's about 150 pages. It does all your lit review, and it produces this map, which was kind of interesting. I thought it was pretty simple. And geologists or earth sciences are famous for stealing maps from other people. It takes so long to create them, and it takes a lot of time and expertise, and so they get permission to steal, I shouldn't use the word steal, to use a map from another researcher that has been previously published, if it's to be released and credited by the publisher or the author, or both. So here's a citation that I put together for this particular thesis. You may find something just bang on right there. Maps. Okay, so maps are hard. Geology Ontario, as I said, Scholars GeoPortal is an Ontario, a consortium of academic libraries, Queens, Toronto, Brock, they put together these digital resources that pulls geographical, earth sciences, geological data and maps together in GIS format. And Google Earth does this as well with that application. And there's a number of tools that you can use. I won't be explaining these things, but it'd be a question you could ask the Map Data and GIS library as well. Here's an example. So I pulled up the bedrock geology for Ontario, and I could put in a different layer of topography or quaternary deposits or folds or faults, and to create a map that I wanted to specifically create using the data sets, asking, taking, pushing, and pulling these resources as well. So huge potential. And the most often one used in Geology Ontario is the OGS Earth database that uses the bedrock geology, which was done maybe 10, 15 years ago, and there's different layers you can put in. Again, create a map that's unique for you, for your feature, if indeed it's included in these data sets as well. There's other places that you can search, and you may be a better searcher than I. So we've gone through books, we've gone through articles, we've gone through theses and dissertations, a number of resources. ResearchGate. Sometimes some researchers build ResearchGate profiles because it's mined by other search engines. This increases the availability, the impact of doing research. So I put in ResearchGate, did campus casing uplift, and found 2 articles that are available on other databases, but maybe have found them and ranked them even higher. I found a map that was interesting. A Geological Society of America has its own database data site, and it kind of connects to conference proceedings, which is a huge area of research and presentation of materials. So I found this map in this GSA 2020, probably was a virtual conference presentation. Figshare is kind of neat. If you've never used Figshare, what it does, it takes, with permissions, it data mines figures, maps, data sets, things that are in articles as well, pulls them out, gives them DOIs specific so that they can be found, and allows you to search for them by subject using their descriptors and descriptors that are added. Here's an example of something you may have not got any other way, but Figshare found it for you, and then you could cite that as well. So here we go. Done the assignment. Looked at the guide. What does scholarly peer-reviewed articles mean? Well, here we go. Let's do this. Is this article scholarly peer-reviewed? And how do you know? A question you need to ask to do this assignment, but it's also because that's the gold standard for researchers. Your professor and your lab assistants and TAs, they strive to create data, write up manuscripts, submit them to journals. Then they're evaluated blindly because they don't know who wrote them to decide whether they add to the body of knowledge. And if they do, then they're published. Sadly, many articles that are manuscripts that are produced don't make it to journals, or they're submitted and granted to lesser journals. So not that it's a rat race, but it's a scholarly gold standard that if it's been accepted by your peer reviewers through a blind scholarly peer-reviewed process, it adds authenticity, validity to the researchers, and then it's entered into the body of knowledge as you build on previous researchers and other researchers build on your research as well. It doesn't say peer-reviewed right here, but it gives you all the earmarks. If it smells, if it tastes, if it looks peer-reviewed, it probably is. Since it doesn't say, sometimes it will say, this is peer-reviewed. It gives an institutional address for the authors, gives an abstract, summary, has an introduction, it has references, has a methodology, has a discussion, presents maps, data. It has all the elements of being peer-reviewed, but it doesn't say so. It probably is peer-reviewed, but it's something you need to discern, and then you need to cite it as well. Here's another article. It's published in the journal, Canadian Journal of Earth Sciences. You'd think it would be peer-reviewed, but then some journals have book reviews, editorials, reviews, summations, opinion articles, which aren't peer-reviewed, but they're in the journal that's peer-reviewed. So you always have to be careful. So you always have to analyze and look at this. So this says this was received and then accepted. It has an abstract, institutional address, keywords. Looks peer-reviewed, but again, you have to discern that. And there's ways that you can do that. One of them is by asking us in the library, and we can discern that for you and say yes or no. Here's a more recent article. It's published in the journal called Earth Science Reviews. Title, institutional address, introduction, methodology. It's about 20 pages long. Looks good. I think I'll use this. I'll download it. I'll grab the citation or add it to Zotero. But if you see on the top right-hand side, it says it was received on a certain date. Sometimes it says it's revised on a certain date, and then it's accepted on another date. So it looks like it's gone through that peer review process. So this article was received by this journal. The editor said, looks good. Well, let's just see whether it's relevant. Or it could say, no, go somewhere else. Takes out the names, the institutional addresses, the self-identification markers that are in the article, sends it to 2 experts around the world, maybe 3 or a panel of experts, and ask them, is this worthy of publication? And it usually comes back of no, get rid of it. Or it says, yes, this is interesting. If indeed the manuscript authors are willing to address these questions and add this sort of thing, we'd be more than happy to accept it. And so that's why you have those 3 dates. Received, revised, and accepted. That's usually the hallmark to being peer reviewed. But again, it has to have those hallmarks of smelling, looking, tasting peer reviewed. Have all those elements. So sometimes it's a gut feeling, but we can help you with that as well. Other things you need to do is on our homepage, we have a research help tab on the top. And it has tutorials, guides. This is where you learn how to use Omni, a great guide to do that, or how to do peer-reviewed or workshops. On the bottom right, it says, what is a peer-reviewed article? This is a great video that I would suggest you look at if indeed you question what is peer-reviewed or you're kind of struggling with that as well. It says, what does peer review mean? And it's 1:46, and it's certainly worthy of your attention. It will help you to assert what is peer-reviewed as part of this assignment. And if you look at the 2P18 guide, I put the link there for it as well on YouTube. Okay, so check that out. 1:46, well wasted. We're getting there. We're getting to the articles and databases. The articles and databases are listed here, as I said. There's a number of them. Omni is on top. There's Figshare. There's ResearchGate, Google Scholar. So which one do you start with? Well, I'm going to suggest that you should search GRF, and I'll show you why. Web of Science, and I'll show you why. Omni is our default database. It's our aggregator of a number of resources, and I'll show you why you should use that. There's other databases. You can use them all. You can use one. You'll probably be over rather than underwhelmed, but you have to discern what terms or keywords that you think work best to get the knowledge that you need to finish this assignment, to know more about your feature. Here's some sample searches. Here's the Google Scholar. So I put capscasing uplift in quotation marks as a phrase, and I truncated plate to get plates or whatever terms. I excluded patents that were there, and what it does is it links to our holdings. So if you go through the Brock IP domain, when you put in letters, numbers, letters, and your password in, it maps out where these articles are in our library. Now sometimes it lies, it doesn't take you to the article, it takes you to a table of contents, or it just doesn't work. That happens. And sometimes there's nothing there, but we still have it. So always go back to Omni and check by. Where Google Scholar works pretty much all the time, but it's a pretty blunt instrument, but sometimes it's quick and dirty if you need 1 or 2 articles, or you know the article you want to find the full text. This takes you right to it as well. And Google Scholar is free. The content, meaning where it takes you to the article, is not free because the library provides subsidies to do that. It's hidden to you, but this is what the library does, is links all these resources. Another database is you may never searched before is Microsoft Academic. It's kind of like Google Scholar's competitor, one of them as well. It's kind of neat. So I put in capscasing uplift and plate tectonics. You can put in one word or try different sets of words. You can sign in, but it's kind of neat. It works on cluster analysis such that it takes these subjects that are in these oval boxes, and you can rank and you can filter down by year, by language, and by geographical term, but these concepts. So if there's a concept like plate tectonics that works best, you can combine the concept, or the cluster plate tectonics, to a word or term or feature. And if it works well, it actually is very good database. And then you can sort the records either by currency, by relevancy, how many times they're used, how many times they've been cited. So it gives you added value that some databases don't. Try Microsoft Academic. Google Scholars Portal journals. Every time Brock gets a journal article, and any other Ontario university, we put it in this database, and we have a PDF copy, and that's where we pull our full text content from. The neat thing about this database is it not only searches the title, the keywords, the abstract, some summary information, it searches every word in every article, so it's very deep mining. And sometimes you'll find things here you can't find anywhere else. So I searched for capscasing uplift as a phrase, any word with the word crust. I sorted by relevancy. I clicked on the peer-reviewed filter, which I know quite well, and I found 58 records. You may find these in other databases, but the PDF is always there, and it says you can download it as well. So here's the article that's there, and I put it into Zotero. Here's that article, and here's that citation that I got from something. And so I don't know how you track your citations and where you put them. Sometimes they download them into your download file, or you put them into a folder, or you grab them here, or you email them to yourself. I'm going to talk about citation management systems. So you find something, how do I track it, keep track of it? Because these skills are important to you as you move forward through this assignment and do other things as well. So citation management, I mean, how do you track and keep these sorts of things? So when you have to write or do your report, everything's there for you as well. Well, Zotero is one guide that you can use. It's on the Writing and Citing tab on the ERSC tool. There's other things that are here, like other tools that you may use, like EasyBib, Citation Style. But Zotero is one, and there's a link to other citation management systems that I use to track and download. It gives me a virtual as well as a desktop-specific, and they link themselves to, system of tracking these sorts of things. On the bottom of this page, also look, there's a number of writing resources that you can use. Here's a list of books that may be important to you. A list of writing guides to be a better writer if you need to improve or you just want to check something out, like drawing geological structures or mastering academic writing in the sciences step by step. If writing isn't your strength, these are tools that I've used and you can use as well. That's where they are. So here's Zotero. It's on my desktop. I use it at home as well as at work, and it's fast and it's free. Book a consultation. I'll show you how to load it and how it works. So what I've done is every time I've touched one of those articles, maps, books, contents, I've put the information into a file called Earth Sciences ERSC 2P18 I created. I just put 1 or 2. And so every time I found something, I was on my computer, I put it here so it tracks it. The neat thing about it is you build up a list of maybe 30 or 40 citations for all sorts of materials. You can annotate it. You can add notes to it. You can push and pull it. But this is what creates not only your in-text citations if you're writing up something that was big, but it also does your citations as well. The neat thing about it is you can take it and you can flip citation styles. And the nice thing about Zotero is it gives you all the most current, most common citation styles. There's about 1,000 of them there, but it gives you automatically, and you can go and find other ones, the most obvious ones. So let's use APA. Most people use APA. It takes it and creates the citation for yourself. Now, that's amazing. I didn't touch anything. I pushed. I didn't type anything. It just created these things so you can cut and paste them into your article or into that assignment page. The thing about it is you can also link to all the articles you look for rather than constantly looking for where did that article go, or I can't remember where I downloaded it. So it does that as well, but citation management systems help you to create bibliographies or references automatically just by flip of a switch. Most people go, wow, why didn't someone show me this? This is amazing. I'll show you this at the end of the GeoRef search to show you again how it would work. Again, something that's very powerful, free, easy for you to use, and a skill that you should develop as well. Before we do our demonstration of the databases, and I'll do that live for you, where to get help. So there's a number of tools here. It's on the Help tab of the Earth Sciences Guide. A number of things, the library help, the video, the chat, me. We're going to hire a data liaison librarian in 2021, the Brock Library. It'll be interesting. So that person will be new, and you may be introduced to that person in 2021 when they come. A very important person. Copyright, learning, Natural Resources Canada, the Canadian Geological Survey and the Ontario Geological Survey and the USGS contacts that I use when I'm stumped. It's always great to ask an expert, give me a publication, or how would you, what words, how, all those sorts of things. So here's a help. It's always open and available for you, whether you're here or not here. You can always come back and consult this as well. So here we go. The last thing I'm going to show you is at the bottom of the Earth Sciences Guide, you can see my picture there. But it comes up like this, and it's the research consultation or book a consultation guide. Some of you have used this, others may not. And again, if you're kind of going, how do I start, or this isn't working, or help me with this, explain this, or book a consultation, so we'll use Zoom or Teams or Life-Size, whatever software, and we'll do it virtually. And I do this all the time as part of my professional practice. When you click on the Book a Consultation tab, it pulls up a calendar, and it has my appointments in it, so it freely opens 45-minute sessions through the day, weekdays that you can pick with 1 day's notice. And it'll ask you, hey, what do you want to meet for? And you say, oh, Earth Science 2P18, I want to know more about Cetero. And then I get that, and you get a copy, and then it gives you a reminder a day before the appointment's due. And then we figure out how we connect, and then we do that for 45 minutes. Hopefully that one-on-one assistance will help you. You may never need it. You may have figured all this out and done it within a day, but if you think you need help, let me help you and book a consultation. It's free and available for you to do. So here we go. Let's use a demonstration now for this particular tool. Let me flip switch systems and we'll go back into just widen this up for you. Here's Google, but the Brock Library is my homepage. So the number of tools that you can certainly use and grab. You can do a number of things. Your Sciences Guide is here. You can certainly look at that. But let's do an Omni database search as well. So it's in the guide. It's right here on our front page. And let's look at, we're looking for articles. So let's look for articles as opposed to books. Let's enter a search term, cat plus casing. Spelling does count. I want that word in the title of an article, okay, just to start it with. And then I'm going to and. You can always add a new line. I want to and it with anywhere. I want to put the words uplift. Remember I said OR has to be capitals? And you see how it's kind of prompting me for what I've put in? I've found that these words work best. You may find other words work best. Or crust. I'd never thought the word crust would work well. So I'm looking for articles, probably the only ones in English. So I'm looking for articles with capscasing the title and any other word that has a combination of one or a number of these as well. 71. It kind of tells me that's not a lot, but that's okay. So I can go to the left-hand side. I can say peer-reviewed journals. So I'll grab that filter, and it tells you if peer-reviewed journals, and it's put those in here. So I've limited to 63. You can sort them by relevancy, the newest first. So I'll do that on the left-hand side. You can sort by relevancy, so it gives me the most recent to the least recent. You can also sort by date. So on the left-hand side, you can go from 1990 to the present. But if you sort them in reverse chronological order, it does the same sort of thing, but it gives you a record of 32. So it's telling me there's not a lot of articles, and I can't tell which ones are relevant. On the top right-hand corner, it says sign in. So I'm going to sign in and actually use my campus ID. The reason why you sign in is because it gives you more functionality. You should always sign in when you use Omni. So here's my search terms. 32 results. The neat thing about it, you can browse through these. You can look at them by clicking on the title, or you can just go, if you want to click on here, it adds it to a list of terms that are placeholders to one side. So I'm going to add this item to the placeholder. I don't know. This looks interesting. That was already there, so I'm going to add it again. Ooh, this looks like a good article. So until you actually leave the database, you can go back and put other words or terms, change fields, sort them as well. If I click on the right-hand top thumbtack, it tells me what terms are here, and I highlighted 3 of them. And you can take these 3 and you can email them, you could download them, or you can send them to a citation management system. So there's Omni. Make sure you use the OR and you click on articles and you flip what fields that you want to look at until you discern that I think I got everything I need to know as well. So there's Omni. Let's go back to the guide. I'll go to the Research Earth Sciences guide that's here. Here we go. Number of tools that you can use. We'll go to the articles. The other one that I wanted to search was Web of Science. So Web of Science is powerful because it does things that other databases don't or mimic they're trying to do. So again, you're looking at a database, you search, you develop this series of keywords, and you have a sense of what words may work or not work. It pulls up and says, what do you want to search? Well, we know cat. It's actually puts it in there for me. And topic means words and titles, keywords, abstracts, or or any field that sort of being full text as well. So let's search capscasing uplift. It found 93 articles, and then since they're all from core journals, it's a great database. You can search and look for just articles as opposed to book reviews, editorials, meetings. And so it says you want to look at those and refine them, so we'll grab those 80 articles. I could browse those, but let's go back to the search, and it's kind of neat. Let's search and let's add a row, let's add another term, and we'll put in those synonyms. Let's put in the word crust, or Archaean, or Grenville, or whatever words you want to use, or terrain. I'm putting ors between words that lead, or plate, as in plate tectonics. You can truncate that the word plate or plates. You can look at these in titles. So capscasing the uplift in the title, any one of these words as well. I got 25. Well, let's browse through these, because serendipity is still a research methodology. The neat thing about this database is, like other databases, you can click on time cited, meaning the most ones that have been cited. Well, there's an easy one. And at any time in any database, you can highlight them. This one leaves an asterisk. You can add them to a marked list, meaning it puts them into a placeholder like Omni does. So I've got that one. Or usage count, meaning how many times they've been touched. Most to least. Ooh, that looks interesting. I haven't got that one yet. It remembers what you've searched as well. Let's add that to the marked list. Relevance, meaning what they think are most relevant within the time frame. And so you can add through them. That looks interesting. Well, no. Let's look at, oh, that looks interesting. I never thought to add that. So you can browse through, you can go back and change your strategy. You can put in different words. You can do a different search. But anytime you can go to your marked list. And if you find them, you can delete them, you can add them, you can download them, or you can export them. But you can actually look at the articles as well. Let's look at this article. So it gives you an author, title, abstract, list of keywords like you've got to use as well. It gives you more information. You can always find it, look it up, see if it's up rock as well. And I'd say if you find 100 articles, 90% of them we have in our library full text. So that's usually not a problem. Then again, you can look at them, you can look at your search results, you can look at your marked list again, or go back and forth. But Web of Science allows you to do one thing you can't do anywhere else, is that if you look at this article, it tells you within this database, though it has 195 citations, wow, 195. But since it was published in 1994, it's been cited 141 times. And then you can click on this list, and you can sort it by time cited, by date, by usage count, and find how other people have cited the article that you may have chosen to use. It's like looking forward or looking ahead. It's a different way of searching that can't really be duplicated any other way. But then you can add these to your records, or you can search within another word. So great flexibility in Web of Science. It does things no other database does. Let's go back to our articles databases. The last one I want to search, and the one that you should search, is called GeoRef. It uses an EBSCO search interface, and I'll bring that over here. Again, it's probably the last one you want to search, but it's probably the best, because now that you've gone through these databases, you kind of sense is what words work, which ones don't. So let's put in the word capscasing. You can think of what word works best. We want to put in the word uplift. You don't have to put it in caps. Or folding, or faulting, or plate, or terrain. Truncate that, or crust, or crusting. And again, you can play and use the filters. So let's search to see how many records we get. The neat thing with this database is it's been produced by geologists of earth sciences for geologists of earth sciences, and it captures government materials, open materials, web materials, things that aren't caught by most other databases. And so you'll find things like 395 records here. So we can sort from, use the filter 1990 to the present. So you can add those. It updates the search. We want academic journals, though other theses and dissertation maps may be great. Let's add those as well. So got 204. You can filter by subject or by language, by meaning English. And you can sort them by relevancy or newest to oldest. Let's say newest to oldest. And as you go through them, you can sense, you can read where they're from and what they are. They may be conference reports, open file reports, things that usually don't lend themselves to full text formats and can only be found here. So you may find of the 204 here that you put into a folder, and you can do that anyway by grabbing a folder, by clicking on the yellow here. So it adds it to a folder. And browse through these. At any time you find an article that looks interesting. Field trips we don't want. Conference reports, yeah. Abstracting, no. For Cambrian research, if you find an article, click on it, because what it does is it gives you the title of the article, who they're from, institutional address. They're usually always peer reviewed, but it gives you subjects that you can use. And these are standardized languages of geographical and geological and earth sciences tools and subjects that you can use, such that they're clickable. You can click on Kapuskasing zone and be confident that of the 493 articles here, I can now search within those and filter those, putting the word uplift or structure, that I've got everything. And you, again, like any search, you tend to see the same sorts of things over and over again. The neat thing about this particular search is that you can go and click on a number of these things and add them to folders. You'll go, oh, that one looks interesting, and this one looks interesting. It adds them to a folder that's here. So you spend 10 or 15 minutes in GeoRef, which you should. It brings up these articles that are listed here. There's 3 of them here. I'm going to select them all. And I'm going to grab them and export them to my folder. And it says, where do you want to export them? And every database allows you to do this. I'm going to grab all 3, and Zotero is listed here. So I'm going to go to my Zotero account I've got open here. So here's a folder that I've got here for Zotero. I've got it listed. I've got all my citations here. I've got my folder here for Zotero or Sciences. I've got about 20 things here, things that I thought. The neat thing about GeoRef is that in every database is when you click on Save, it takes these citations and you click on OK. It adds them to, I didn't do anything, it just adds them here as well. The neat thing about these is that not only does it give you the citation that you can say, I want this one, I want this one, I want to look at this one, I want to grab all these, or you can take them. And the nice thing about this particular database is that it gives you the information that's automatically put into your database. It gives you the URL, so you really don't need to download the article, but you can attach it to it because it takes you right to it. You can add notes to it. So I added notes. I added some assessment information. You can put in, this is a great article. You can look at other notes as well. Here's another note that I added. I put in a top bit of the text here. I put in a figure here. So it actually tracks and keeps these ones. That's when you sit down to write or do your assignment, the information's there for you. But again, there's also a link to this article on the info side, which you can cut and paste and put into your search engine, and it just brings up the article by itself. But the beauty of this is that I've got these articles. Let's grab these ones here. I'm going to right click. I'm going to create a bibliography, and then I can flip styles. Let's use the APA. That's what most people use. I click on OK. And I go to my Word document, and I right click and paste. And it puts them there for me. See how powerful that is? There's some cleanup that needs to be done. But it's a way beyond this assignment to citation management, track them, keep them, and build a database so that you can use this for this course, another paper, another assignment, or any other course moving forward. It's yours to keep, and it's always yours to have as well. So there you go. I know that was a lot to look at, and here's the things that you can look at. We did our demonstration. Again, if you need help, grab me if you can. I'm glad to help you by the number of ways to help contact. Good luck with this assignment, and thanks for coming along for the journey.